sea lions, the turtles, penguins, the iguanas, everything.
You saw a penguin?
There was one penguin, yeah. It was amazing. All of it was just everything all around you, everywhere you turn your head, there was something to look at.
We're exploring the western and northern Galapagos Islands on an 8-day boat journey.
We made it through the night. When we first got on board, I'm sorry we didn't record, but the first thing our guide said to us is, all right, get ready for 13 hours of rocking and rolling. And when I tell you I could barely use the toilet last night, I'm not kidding you. But I actually slept like a baby, and now we're here looking at Isabela, the biggest island in the Galapagos. I think we're about half an hour away from being able to get on land. We're gonna hike through some lava fields, and then in the afternoon, we're gonna do some snorkeling and hopefully see some really good wildlife. See the movie?
Just rise the feet. He's dancing, he's dancing. It's Friday.
The Galapagos Islands are found roughly 600 miles off the coast of Ecuador in the Pacific Ocean and are probably best known for solidifying Darwin's theory of evolution.
This penguin people is bulge in its feathers. That's why he looks fluffy, like we're in a cove.
It's the only place you'll find penguins north of the equator, marine iguanas that can dive to depths of 30 feet, giant tortoises that can outlive most healthy humans, cormorant birds that can't fly, and hundreds of other species that you can't find anywhere else on Earth.
Building a nest over here. Flying the cormorants, they go on land and they rise the wings, they open the wings like that in order to let it dry. But right now the wings are totally useless because, as you can see, it's very heavy. This bird is about 1.7 to 2.3 kilos.
Our first few minutes approaching Isabela Island was absolutely buzzing with life. Everywhere you looked, you could see animals. And something very, very special to the Galapagos is they have no fear of humans. The Galapagos Islands were created from volcanic eruptions. Since they're relatively young, many of these islands still look like hardened lava. And at first glance, it might seem like nothing could possibly survive in these conditions. But life always finds a way, and these islands constantly surprised us with what they had to offer.
So there's actually less than 500 flamingos on this island, and it's so weird to see flamingos on an island made completely out of black lava. It's a really stark contrast, but they come here to actually fish out the shrimp that pool here in these like little lagoons that occur. It's really cool. So we're actually seeing 8 of them right now. If it's less than 500, we're seeing a huge percentage of the actual population here.
You can tell because of the size of the head. They don't look really much in the water, but when they die, look the size. You need like the 2 hands just to hold the whole head of the turtle.
After our morning hike through the lava fields, we spent the afternoon drifting through the mangrove forests.
Wet mangroves. Typical of the island. Not unique, but they're typical vegetation that grows right here. White mangrove and wet mangrove. It's a good place for pelicans to nest, herons. Don't be surprised to see the monkey sea lion.
A monkey sea lion.
There's a sea lion that jumps
Not an actual species, as it turns out, but a nickname. The sea lions use the mangrove trees to rest, including this mother nursing her baby.
I feel like I can.
Yeah. Here amongst the mangroves, we could see turtles everywhere we looked. Dozens of them, popping their heads up for air, gliding under the boat, or even resting on some mangrove branches. If there was ever a moment of zen, this was it.
How much of this footage is going to be on here?
Everyone just ran up on deck because they said there's a whale sighting. So we're all desperately looking for it, but I don't see it.
That's a bigger one.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it must be.
Got some whales.
We just finished a wonderful first full day on the cruise. We're gonna have some dinner waiting for us. It looks like the waiter actually made all the napkins into like a turtle shape because we saw so many turtles today. It was a good full day, but I'm excited to eat and crawl into that bed and do it all again tomorrow. No, it's amazing. I'm having a really good time. We woke up early morning today at 6:30, and the first thing I hear is some sea lions climbed up board on the boat. It's adorable. It makes 6:30 a lot easier.
When Darwin came over here, like Cove, and the tradition of this place is that boats on the past they leave a graffiti, so we can read over there the boat and the year that boat that passed by. The National Park declared no more graffitis in 1998, but don't be surprised to find one or two until like 2005 and 2006. So right now we're gonna do.
After navigating through the night, this morning we're visiting a different part of Isabela Island. So we're here exploring this island. Once again, we're the only people here. Darwin came here for 3 days. Darwin's kind of like the guy around here. Darwin's findings from the Galapagos helped solidify his theory of evolution. In particular, it was these finches. They may not look like much, probably because they're identical to mainland finches in every way, except they had different beaks. Different beaks for different types of foods that they ate throughout the islands. And adaptive evolution is prevalent with much of the unique wildlife throughout the Galapagos. We saw a bunch of cormorants nesting on the side. Those birds are really funny and cool because they actually evolved out of their wings. They used to fly, but it's so easy to eat here. They don't need to, they can just like waddle down to the water, take what they need, and then they can just hop back to their nest. It's cool to see an ecosystem so healthy, like things are just working the way that they should.
How are they so big?
We have a lot of food.
Yeah, the bigger grasshoppers are the girls. The smaller.
And after a quick hike to gaze out at the equator,
Tonight we should be crossing right through it.
You think we're going to see the yellow line?
That's what legend says.
we hopped into a kayak to look at the cove from a different angle.
One of the options today is to take this awesome glass bottom kayak out on the water.
Several sea stars. They're very pretty.
But look at how amazing this is. The water is about 20 degrees Celsius, so we're wearing wetsuits. But outside of the water, it is much hotter.
We're about to go snorkeling.
Because we're about to go snorkeling. We're meeting up with the rest of the group where we'll be able to just dive into the water. We're supposed to go all the way over there. We're even cheating a little bit. He told us we should go around the entire length of this, but I'm tired. Oh, look at all the penguins. So we just finished snorkeling and kayaking and hiking on the Cove over here in Isabela. And now we're crossing over to Fernandina. This is going to be the only part that we're able to access, but it's very exciting because you're going to get to snorkel with marine iguanas. And if you don't know, this is the only place in the world you can do that because it's the only place that they exist. So it's special. Even if they freak me out like a little tiny bit. Also, this is the first boat we've seen in a couple days.
Once again, the water was buzzing with activity. From the moment you enter the water, you are surrounded by life. The marine iguana is the main attraction here. The Galapagos Islands are the only place in the world you'll find them. As a result of evolution, they can dive up to 12 meters and hold their breath for up to 1 hour to feed on algae growing on rocks at the bottom of the water. But it's the sea lion that really steals the show. They're the unofficial welcoming party of the Galapagos. They're playful and inquisitive, almost like puppies. But they're also expert swimmers and hunters.
We just finished, hands down, the best snorkeling of my entire life.
It was probably the best experience, best underwater experience.
Probably, what do you?
It was the best underwater experience. The whale sharks were amazing
whale
in
sharks.
Mexico, and if you haven't seen that episode, make sure you go check it out. But this was all around the best experience underwater ever.
Yeah.
You had everything: the sea lions, the turtles, penguins, the iguanas, everything.
You saw a penguin?
There was one penguin. Yeah. High five. It was amazing. All of it was just everything all around you. Everywhere you turn your head, there was something to look at. But it wasn't like they were ignoring you or avoiding you or just like tolerating you. They were engaging with us.
Yeah.
It was like we were playing with them. We were swimming with them. It was incredible. Like just absolutely incredible. I think it's gonna take me some time to process all this, honestly, because it was that good. It was just amazing.
It felt really special. Did you hear the bell? I think it's time to go do our second hike now.
We have another hike coming.
Yeah.
We're on a tight schedule here.
Yeah.
We did have a tight schedule. Every day was some variation of 1 to 2 hikes, 1 to 2 snorkeling trips, and the odd chance to kayak or take a spin around on the Zodiac. And we never would have been able to do all of that without being on a boat. Not to mention the crew made it extremely easy for us.
It's a small boat, but it's super comfortable. There's 15 passengers on board and I think a crew of about 8. Also just want to give you a quick tour. This is the main upstairs balcony area. And then down here, we actually have a bunch of glass bottom kayaks.
Inside, there was a cozy area for dining and relaxing with all of the rooms attached to the main area.
It feels like literally every time we come back, they've cleaned our room.
So fresh and so clean.
It's amazing.
But enough about the boat. We need to go check out Fernandina Island.
We're on a tight schedule here,
Yeah, okay.
which is awesome.
This is a lava lizard. Blends in perfectly.
I love a lava lizard.
So we're on Fernandina Island, which is the most untouched island of the entire Galapagos. You can really see how pristine everything is. Unlike some of the other islands where like feral cats have been introduced over the years, maybe like goats have been introduced over the last 150 years when people were coming here, this is still as natural as it can be. Also one of the youngest. It seems to be about 90% lava. They're signaling me to go. It's thought that millions of years ago, a regular, common land iguana floated from the mainland 600 miles out to sea and found itself in the Galapagos Islands. They adapted to the barren, volcanic land by feeding on algae growing on rocks under the water. This afternoon on Fernandina Island, you see them warming up in the sun and sneezing up salt water. Because they live off algae, they ingest a lot of salt water. Part of their evolution was the creation of a gland that allows them to stay hydrated by sneezing out the salt while retaining the water.
Little baby iguana.
Maybe they aren't the prettiest animal, but you have to admit their ability to adapt is pretty impressive. Walking around this really black landscape, everything moves. Everything's a lizard or an iguana or a crab or a snake, but you don't see it until
Just trying to get its attention.
it's a really special place. Stop. We just shored up on the beaches of Santiago Island. We were greeted with another poison apple tree, which is pretty prevalent at the Galapagos actually. It's a real thing. It's like you can't touch it, you can't eat it. It's gonna make you really sick, give you a bad rash. This island's really interesting because there was a family that tried to settle here twice over the years, and they failed twice. But we will be able to see the remnants of what they tried to create, and hopefully just enjoy some beach time. In the 1900s, settlers came here hoping to mine salt. They tried and failed for many years. Between the human presence and the domesticated animals they brought with them, much of the indigenous wildlife was destroyed, including the land iguana. But thanks to efforts in the late 20th century, much of the impacted wildlife has recovered. Darwin wasn't very impressed with the Galapagos land iguanas. He described them as ugly animals with a singularly stupid appearance. They can grow up to 5 feet long and live for over 60 years. And they can move surprisingly fast when they want to. Never seen an iguana move that fast. They leave these awesome, tail tracks in their way. Further along in our hike, you can find deep pools and caves carved from lava dotting the shoreline, which is an excellent place to spot the less common Galapagos fur seal. We're out here looking at these lagoons where you can actually see the fur sea lion, which unfortunately is pretty much the only animal that's kind of afraid of humans, because back when there were settlers here, they ate them. Even though they're the most afraid, they're still not that afraid. Wrapping up our morning, we had the opportunity to snorkel right off the beach, and the water was crystal clear. After lunch, we crossed over to Rabida Island for our afternoon exploration, including more hiking and more snorkeling. We're here on the red sand beach of Rabida Island, and we just went for a hike, see some of the landscape and everything. But definitely the highlight for me was doing some of this snorkeling. Crystal clear water today. We got so lucky. And my favorite part was getting to play with the baby sea lion at the end. It's amazing. So yeah, we're gonna head back, get some dinner, do it all over again tomorrow. We'll be exploring more of the Galapagos in the next episode of our 3-part series, so don't forget to like and subscribe to follow along. Thanks for watching.